Yes. So, Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम् ॐ तत्सत्. Okay, so I hope some of you were able to go through the prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya. So there was a recording sent on the group as well. So we can try to memorize them. So continuing our reading of the introduction. So we see here Krishna is talking about inviting us to his abode. I'm just trying to open the online version so we can keep reading the introduction in between. So we have an activity also at the end of the class, last 20 minutes. So let me read this prayer once more. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shrirupam Sagrajatam Sahaganaraghunatanvitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscham हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदाम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we saw about um, how to read Bhagavad Gita, right? Um, and the example that's given is how to that if we want to take a medicine, we follow the directions written on the label, or we follow the directions of a physician. So the Lord, who has given us this knowledge, is telling us how to understand Bhagavad Gita as well. So do you remember what else we saw in the last class? If you want to put it in the chat, in the introduction, what else you read? Okay, there's a question. We'll take it at the end of the class. Any topic that you remember that we discussed? Anyone?
It's about Sanatan Dharma.
Right. Sanatan.
It's like the service is eternal religion of the living being.
Right.
And Sanatan Dharma is like that which has neither had starting or not an end. It's like always there.
Okay, thank you. That's a good topic. Yes. 5 major topics in Bhagavad Gita, and karma is not eternal. Yes. Yeah. And then about Vedas. So, how it is, Vedas are beyond the 4 defects, and how did we read anything about the consciousness? Are we the enjoyer or controller or who? And if you remember
We
any,
are cooperator.
we are cooperator. Yes. Devotee's relationship with the Lord. Yes. And what are the examples we saw in that? That how, why should we be a cooperator?
Because Lord is the creator and enjoyer. So the Jews shouldn't feel that he is the creator, he is the enjoyer. He's just cooperating in this world for Lord to enjoy the things.
Thank you. So there are 3 examples that we discussed. I
Yes.
hmm.
So
Was there
that,
an
sorry,
education?
ma'am.
I mean, we don't have much time. So yeah, Ashutosh Prabhu, you can speak. Let me.
So 3 example we saw. One example was of machine. So a particular part is the part of the machine. Then
Right.
the body,
Right.
like stomach is the enjoyer, and hand, teeth, they help us to get the food, chew the food. So body, and then we saw the plant. We water the roots, and that takes to the entire plant.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, stomach, the machine, and the part, right? And so, Bhagavad Gita talks about Sanatan Dharma. The faith can change, but that which is intrinsic to everyone, the service attitude, that doesn't change. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us that how we can repose that service attitude in the Lord. Okay, and that's where we stopped. So Krishna is discussing this, that why is Krishna asking everyone to worship him? Because he says that they need only worship the Supreme Lord because their ultimate goal is to return to his abode. There are many Vedas that prescribe many different things, like if you want so and so uh, material facility, you do this puja, you do this yajna, and you will get this, and so is in charge of this department, like that. But what is the main goal of Bhagavad Gita is that the Lord is inviting us to come to his abode. So the ultimate goal is to return to his abode. And why we should return to his abode? He is telling a fantastic explanation like this. Natad basayate suryo Nasa shanko na pavakaha yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So, this is totally different from what's happening here. Here, what happens when we come here? We are not staying here forever in a form. Like we keep changing, right? There is no change. And here, without sun, moon, or fire, there is no light, and there is no requirement. So the planet itself is spiritual, and so how it is illuminated? Here he says, of course, we have a material conception of the sky, and we think of it in relationship to the sun, moon, stars, and so on. But in this verse, the Lord states that in the eternal sky, there is no need for the sun, nor for the moon, nor electricity, or fire, or any kind, because the spiritual sky is already illuminated by Brahma Jyoti. And what's Brahma Jyoti? The rays emanating from the Supreme Lord. So this is why, from the Supreme Lord, the rays that is emanating is called Brahma Jyoti, and that is why the Lord is called self-sufficient. He is not dependent on external source like sun, moon, or anything to give anything at all in his world. So he's giving us a idea how his world is, what is the spiritual sky, and what is the material sky. So it is mentioned here that we saw, right? If we desire to go other planets, there is a process for going there. This is also mentioned. Yanti deva vrita devan pitrin yanti pitribritaha. No mechanical arrangement is necessary if we want interplanetary travel. The Gita instructs Yanti deva vrita devan. The moon, the sun, and the higher planets are called Swargaloka. There are three different statuses of planets: higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. The Earth belongs to the middle planetary systems. Bhagavad Gita informs us how to travel to the higher planetary systems, Devaloka, with a very simple formula. Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. One need only worship the particular demigod of that particular planet, and in that way go to the moon, the sun, or any of the higher planetary systems. But is it what Bhagavad Gita is advising? Yet, Bhagavad Gita does not advise us to go to any of the planets in this material world, because if we go to Brahmaloka, even if we go to Brahmaloka, the highest planet, through some sort of mechanical contrivance, by maybe traveling for 40,000 years. Okay, that is the time, the distance between the earth and the Brahmaloka is, if we travel in a machine for 40,000 years that runs at the speed of light. Okay, so, and who would live that long? Obviously, we will still find the material inconvenience of birth, death, disease, and old age. But one who wants to approach the supreme planet Krishna Loka or any other planet within the spiritual sky will not meet with these material inconveniences. Amongst all of the planets in the spiritual sky, there is one supreme planet called Goloka Vrindavana, the original planet in the abode of the original personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. All of this information is given in Bhagavad Gita. And so, see, this is introduction. So Prabhupada is giving a summary of what is there in Bhagavad Gita. So through its instruction, information how to leave the material world and begin a truly blissful life in the spiritual sky. Why at all we should leave this material world? That's explained here. Urdhva moolam adaha shakam ashwattham prahur avyayam chandamsi yasya parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. Here the material world is described as a tree whose roots are upwards and branches are below. We have experience of a tree whose roots are upward. If one stands on the bank of a river or any reservoir of water, he can see that the trees reflected in the water are upside down. The branches go downward and the roots upward. Similarly, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. The material world is but a shadow of reality. In shadow, there is no reality or substantiality. But from the shadow, we can understand that there are substance and reality. What's the example? In the desert, there is no water, but the mirage suggests that there is such a thing as water. In the material world, there is no water, there is no happiness, but the real water of actual happiness is there in the spiritual world. Of course, one may argue that yes, there is happiness here. But what is that happiness? Is only a cessation of misery. There's a story that the kings used to give punishment in the medieval time. They will dunk that person into the water, okay, and uh, he will almost, he'll keep gasping for breath. Of course, in underwater, when he's almost about to pass away, he's taken out for a minute. When he has taken only one breath, again he's dunked in the water. So this is our position. From one life to another life, and from even in this life, from one misery to another. There's another, story that I heard in the lecture recently. There's a person somehow got lost in the forest and he's being chased by a tiger. And you can imagine what is to be chased by a tiger. We don't know. We all look eating popcorn, the Discovery Channel of tiger chasing the deer. But if the tiger is really chasing us and we have to run for life, and that's how this person was really running so hard. And then there was a huge pit that was kept for catching the elephants. And the pit is covered on top with dry grass. So he fell into the pit. But while he's falling, he realized, oops, this is a pit, huge pit, and I'll never be able to come out of it. So he, tried to grasp something, the secondary roots that were coming down from a huge banyan tree that was nearby. So he held on to that. And up there is tiger gnawing at him. And down, if he looked down, he wanted to see how deep is the pit. And he saw so many snakes. The snakes who were crawling on the forest floor, okay, they tried to crawl and then they slip and fall down, and all of them there, a bunch of them. And you can imagine if he's going to leave his thing, then he knows where he's going to go. So he's so scared and he's holding. And then he saw there is a rat that is coming and it is trying to cut the roots that he's hanging on to. It's almost in the process of it's starting to cut. And meanwhile, there is a beehive on top and some drops of honey is falling from up. So what is he doing with all the things, with the tiger on the top, with the snakes below, and with the rat gnawing on his only lifeline? The honey is dripping and he's sticking out his tongue to taste the honey. Right? So this is the example for all of us. So we have no idea what is the happiness. Although we have so many things, past, present, and the future miseries waiting, and we ourselves don't know like where we are heading to, but we are busy tasting the honey and we say, why go to the spiritual world? If that person says, wow, this honey is so nectarian and I would like to be here only, hanging on the roots and holding on to the roots. Will anyone do that? So, that's what Krishna is saying. This is like this. But the real spiritual world is like if somebody has given help, a bunch of rescuers have come and they have chased the tiger away and he's trying to slowly pull that person and um, bringing him out. And that's what uh, Krishna is showing here to us. He's showing that you don't need to struggle here, you can come to me. So how is this material world is created at all? So Mahavishnu, as we saw, is lying down on the causal ocean. And this Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna. That we will see in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. From Krishna comes Balaram. From Balaram comes, there are 4 expansions, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Sankarshana. And again, there is a second quadruple expansions. And from Sankarshana comes Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu is lying down, and from his pores, millions of universes are coming out. And in each one of the universe, he himself is expanding as Garbho Dakashayi Vishnu. Or the Vishnu Garbha Udakashayi means from whose navel the lotus is coming and Brahma is sitting on top. Now someone may think, what is this fairy tale story? From the Lord's navel, how could, a lotus come? So the counter question is, how could it not come? Why would it not come? Right? So from Krishna's expansion is Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu's expansion is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And inside, this is one universe. But outside this total area of Brahma Jyoti, you see it's full of light and is this spiritual world. So here we saw, here is Goloka Vrindavana, and then there is Dwaraka Dham, those who are so dedicated to worshipping Lord Rama can eternally go to Ayodhya Dham and there serve him. And then there are so many other spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Loka. All Narayana expansions are there. And like this is fully called Chit Jagat, or spiritual worlds. So like this is a material spiritual world which is never annihilated. There is no birth, death, old age and disease. But in the universe here where Vishnu lies down, and there is each universe, and each universe there are 7 planetary systems. There is repeated birth and death. So from unlimited universes emanate from the pores of his skin, and just by his glance he impregnates a universe with the jivas and kala. So we'll see who created time, right? So time is also, as we saw, is an expansion of the Lord, and we are also expansions of the Lord, and he's allowing us this facility. And inside this each universe there is this arrangement that in the bottom is Garbhodaka ocean, and this is the middle planet is the earth planetary systems, Bhuloka, and on top there are 7, Bhuvar Loka, Swarga Loka, Mahar Loka, Jana Loka, Tapa Loka, Satya Loka. Satya Loka is Lord Brahma's abode. So that's what they calculated, from Bhur Loka to Satya Loka, 40,000 light years of travel in a machine. Okay, so then coming down is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, and we keep either going to higher planets or lower planetary systems or in the middle. So like this, we are keep on wandering in this material universe. So this is explained more detailed in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, about the whole cosmic planets, universes, where each planet is present and all that. But this whole of this universe, what Krishna is telling is, or multiple universes, is like a reflected tree. We saw this in the 15th chapter, first verse. The real tree is there, and because there is real tree, reflection is there. Because there is reflection, from reflection we can conclude that there is a real tree, because without reality, reflection will not come, right? Like the example given, there is mirage in the desert. Like there is an illusion, there is water. So that means that there is real water somewhere. But in the desert, there is only an illusion of water. So similarly, he says in the reflection, how much ever we try to make a comfortable situation and sit, it's not satisfying. So that is why Krishna is telling that this whole material world, wherever you go, even up to Brahmaloka, from Brahmaloka again, this universe is a time factor. It's controlled by time. After time, it is annihilated. So better come to my world, which is a real spiritual world, where you can live forever.
So, what's through this door? Where do we go? Is it nothing?
Yeah, so this is $1 million question, right? Many people don't know, but Bhagavad Gita starts off with this. Because if we don't do this, we always prepare first door to the second door. So there's this story of a desolate island. There was, once a human being, he somehow got lost and he went into the jungle and he was caught by the tribals. So when he was caught by the tribals, he was thinking, I'm gone. I only read this in stories, but ultimately it's happening to me now. He thought, I'm going to die now. These people are going to kill me. But to his surprise, he found that they said that, uh, you're our king. And then he asked, what? I'm your king? You don't kill me, but I'm your king? Yes, yes, you're our king. So you came to us on the 31st of December. Whoever comes here on the 31st of December is God sent to us, and he will become the king for the next year. Then he asked, who was the last year king for you? Yeah, we have king every year. And at the end of the year on December 31st, we will send the previous king to another island where there is nothing available. Okay? And then, instead of killing them, they are telling that they will send him to another island after keeping him nicely for 1 year. So this fellow understood that I am going to die after 1 year. So what he said, during his time as a king, he kept sending, uh, different goods to the nearby island where he will be sent. He sent bricks, he sent, seeds, he sent plants, vegetables, he sent grains, and everything that's required. And finally, when he was sent on 31st, then he had enough supplies to live there for the rest of his life. This is intelligence, right? If anyone knows, he was able to do this because he knew he's going to go there at the end of the 1 year term. Like this way, Krishna is saying, you all know that here is not a permanent place. From babyhood, we are pushed into childhood, from childhood to adolescence, from adolescence to adulthood, adulthood to old age. And then we should think about what next. Because in each time we are planning what will happen next to us, right? So that's why he's saying that uh, I have a separate island for you, that is a spiritual world where there is no birth, death, old age or disease. But how to get there? by planning in this life, because in this life only we can plan what form of body we can have in the next life. So if we want a material or a spiritual body, we can plan it in this life only. So Krishna is telling to Arjuna, always remember me and do your duty. Okay, he didn't say, okay, Arjuna, sit down and always remember me. I will do the duty for you. No, many people expect this. Oh, I did so much to the Lord. I'm chanting, I'm doing this. Why this suffering for me? No, what we have to do is always think about Him and then go about doing our duty. So, someone may ask, how is it possible at all? Acharyas are giving an example. Like if there is two people are in a wedded relationship, either man or a woman, but they have another attachment. Okay, that attachment is considered very strong, and so they will do everything very perfectly so that they are not getting deducted. This is not that something, this is immoral and this is not something to be followed. But the point is that each and every Jivatma, all of us are eternally having an attachment to Krishna. It's like, the attachment. We may not see the Lord, we may not have, you know, seeing the Lord face to face or interacting with Him like we are interacting with the family. But this attachment with the Lord can never be taken away, it can only be forgotten. Uh, so we have forgotten that, and for life after life, we are going from one life to another attachment to another attachment. But the Lord's attachment with us, Paramatma's attachment with Jivatma is the strongest. So if we develop such strong love for the Lord, then it is possible to remember Him. See, that is the crux. See, Krishna is telling that you remember me and do your duty, but to remember the Lord, we should have a strong sense of love. But to have a strong sense of love, we should first know that how about the knowledge about the Lord first, right? So that sambandha jnana, or that knowledge about who are we and what is our relationship with the Lord, is given in Bhagavad Gita. And based on that knowledge, we practice regulated devotional service to develop love for the Lord. So that is in this process of practicing love for the Lord, we see that everything else will come in place. Now our situation is like this. Okay, the chariot person who is inside is jumping up and down because the chariot is running in different directions. Morning, night we think and we take a decision, and then morning we say that is wrong. And like this, because the senses are pulling us into various different places and different things to do according to, what we feel is what is a role model is. I mean, there was one real estate agent, he was telling, he was basically an American, he was telling that if I get one Indian to buy a house in my community, that's what I have to do. Then rest of all his Indians I will get automatically. They will come because that's how he's, I mean, this is a true incident. He was saying, if I just have to work on my first client who's an Indian, then I know I don't have to work, they will come automatically. So means this is how, we are pulled in different directions by different goals set by the society, by by whom we think, by our co-workers or by our neighbors, and like that. This is nothing but basically the senses are pulling us in different direction. Mind is also going along with the senses. Intelligence is completely gone. Where are we going? Whether did we plan anything for the further life? No, we are having a very rough ride, even in this material world. then where is a peace to think about and plan for the future journey? But if we plan for the future journey, that is, to have a spiritual life and the spiritual body in the next life and work towards that goal, then this everyday struggle in the material life will come in order, because we know where we are going, and the intelligence is given spiritual knowledge and spiritual intelligence, and through that mind is controlled, and through the mind senses are controlled. So that's why it's important to read Bhagavad Gita, so that we'll know what is happening to us, where are we in this ride, which is the horse that is pulling me now, and what is in my mind. We have seen so many movies, read so much novels, seen so many WhatsApp messages, YouTube reels, and Instagram reels with such absorption. Imagine, all of this only is going to pop up at the end of the life. So we need to clear our mind. Just like, we can give the material enjoyment to the mind. If we give spiritual entertainment, then it's easy to think about the Lord. And that's what the Lord is saying here further. Yeah. So we saw how we attain the spiritual world in the following manner, and more about the spiritual world, how it is unmanifested. It's a supreme spiritual kingdom, and at the end of the life, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So what is our present body, and what is the spiritual body that we are going to get, all this is explained here. And he also says the rule: whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in his next life he will attain to that state without fail. And finally, this is what we saw. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time continue your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. And then, yeah, this is the example that we saw, that there is a strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember Him. But we have to develop that sense of love. So that's what we are doing here in Bhagavad Gita. And what are the 9 process? The practice is given here. And the easiest is Shravanam. Shravanam is hearing the Bhagavad Gita from the realized person will turn one to the thought of the Supreme Being. So we are all listening from Srila Prabhupada, and it's easy also. And what he says, if he who meditates on me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me undeviated from the path, he, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. And is there any qualification for that? He says, no. Anyone at any stage of life, whether he's learned or not, whether he's intelligent or not, Bhakti Yoga is open to all, and they can make his life perfect. And see, this is what, if one adopts the principles enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So how one should read Bhagavad Gita? In the Gita Mahatmya, it is said, if one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. Bhaya Shokadi Varjitaha. Okay. And गीताध्यायनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्म कृतानि च. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Suchaha. Abandon all varieties of dharma. Religion here means dharma, religion, and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto him, and he indemnifies such a person against all reactions of sins. This is already we have committed, and it's like a ticket, and we have so many dues to pay. Okay, all those dues are waived because of our surrender. So another sloka, Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sakrit Gitamrita Snanam Samsara Malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Just like we saw, what a great thing, right? To go from one body to another, but to go to a spiritual world in a spiritual body, it's not an easy thing. So that's why even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him this is the gift. Gita su Gita kartavya kim anyai shastra vistaraihi ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmad vinishrita. So there are so many Vedic literatures. Okay, but if we regularly read and hear this, then everything else is covered in that. Because whatever the other Vedic literatures are telling, the crux of it, the essence of it, there is there in Bhagavad Gita. And there is a comparison. Okay, so Ganges emanates from the lotus feet of the Lord, and Gita is the Ganga that's emanating from the mouth of the Lord. Okay, from an impartial study, we can say that Bhagavad Gita is even more important than the water of Ganges. So one teacher was explaining this. You might take a dip in the Ganga like Mahakumbh. Everyone is going. There's a big hype. It's very nice to go there and take a dip. So whatever sinful actions we have done, there is deletion of that, and there is a uh, the sinful reactions are gone. But if we come out again, what's not the guarantee? What's a guarantee that we won't commit sins again? Then again we end up accumulating. But if we constantly every day take bath in the spiritual water of Bhagavad Gita, every day shower we take for the body, similarly every day we need to shower our mind and intelligence, the subtle body, and ourselves, the soul, with the Ganga water of Bhagavad Gita, then we will not be pushed to do sinful actions at all. So that's why it is more important than even the water of Ganges. Then this we saw already. Sarvo Upanishado Ghavo Dogda Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatsaha Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat. So Gita Upanishad is like the essence of all Upanishads. It's like a cow, and Lord Krishna is famous as a Gopala Nandana, cowherd boy. He's milking this Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of all Upanishads. And who's the calf is Partha. Partha Vatsaha. He's a calf, and he's drinking, and through him all the learned scholars and pure devotees are drinking this nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. So this is told by Shankaracharya, and he says, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani, Karma Pyekam Tasya Devasya Seva. If we adopt this one thing, then everything else is in this, and then there is no more rebirth. So at the end of the introduction, we see the disciplic succession. how, starting from Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, this knowledge is coming down from the starting of the creation, that Krishna is telling to Lord Krishna is telling to Lord Brahma, Brahma is telling to his son Narada, Narada to Vyasadev, and then Vyasadev has so many disciples. One of them is Madhvacharya. In the parampara of Madhvacharya comes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has taken, although he's Krishna himself come as a devotee, he's taking initiation from a spiritual master Ishwara Puri, and down in this comes A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, because he started off the introduction like this. How should we take Bhagavad Gita? As mentioned by the speaker himself. Like how a bottle of medicine has to be taken is given by the physician. So, evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo viduhu. This Bhagavad Gita as it is received through this disciplic succession. I had an activity, but we don't have much time for it. But I can ask maybe a few questions. Okay. If anyone knows, you can raise your hand and answer this. The relevance of Bhagavad Gita today. How is Bhagavad Gita still applicable in modern life? Can its teachings help in professional and personal decision making? Yeah, Ashutosh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, definitely. The teachings of Bhagavad Gita can help you. As it mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, do your karma and offer that karma to me. So if we do that, we will not be high if we achieve success, and we will not be low if we get failure. So in today's world, the reason for the anxiety is we get too bothered if we fail, and to win we are too anxious. So if we associate everything to the Lord, then we will get rid of those sufferings.
Wonderful. So ups and downs, Bhagavad Gita helps us to handle in a matured, equipoised way. Okay. Chander Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, I think that if we do the work as by our nature, if we are, whatever our nature is, if we are like a Vaishya or Shudra or like a businessman, if we are, or Kshatriya, if we are in that field, I think the work will happen much easier. I have learned in the first 18 days Gita, like the four varnas.
Okay.
So if we go by our nature and what our prakriti is type, so it becomes much easier and simpler for us.
Okay, that's your teaching that can be applied in the modern life. Yes.
Yes.
That's why there is no job satisfaction. We have money. People go to some job out of force, and then they have money, but they have no peace. So, but if everything is according to our nature, and there's no mad rush, and the goal of life is not to keep making money like this, then we can see that people can still live not in poverty, but in abundance, but abundance of satisfaction also. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Srinath Prabhu.
Yeah, Mataji, Bhagavad Gita teaches us, like, into our daily life, how it can resist, like, detachment to the results and follow dharma, control the mind, and, like, control the mind over desires we can still so, and at the same time Bhagavad Gita helps us it also helps us ultimately realize our true self by practicing the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and chant every day. And so then don't look forward for the results, just do the work. Even Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna was telling to Arjuna that just that because you need to follow Bhagavad Gita, you need to stop all your material life work. You don't need to. You have to do your material worlds, whatever the job duty that has been assigned. You do that while you also practice Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So something that's practical, that we can practice this and work and do our work also, and unwanted desires and unwanted habits, we can shed them off easily by the spiritual strength. Thank you. Okay, my next question is, why is the Bhagavad Gita called a science rather than just philosophy? Why is it called a science?
Because it is a way to control our mind and focus on the thing, rather than being control our senses also, rather than doing comparisons with others. We'll be more focused on what we are doing, and then we are focused, and then we do things with Krishna's consciousness, and then we don't we don't feel jealousy, or we don't have any animosity, or we don't feel bad or feel unhappy. So we do our duty, and then it's a way to control our mind and meditate on God.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mataji. See, all those are there, but if someone asks, how is this can be called a science?
I think, Mataji, this is the science of God. Krishna is telling about himself and our eternal relationship to him. And as you mentioned today, that we develop the knowledge who Krishna is, and then we practice devotional service, and that's how we cultivate love for him. So that's a science of God, that is God himself, Krishna himself is telling us about, so that we develop that love for him.
Very good. Thank you. You're very close to the answer. One more point.
Mataji, I have my view is if it has a clear process by which you can you know what the inputs are and what the final product is. The final product being closer to Paramatma and liberation, and you control all your senses and kill your ego and the I-ness. Then there's a clear process. If you implement it, you reach the final outcome.
Thank you so much. So this is one thing, that there is a clear process, there is input and output, and that's called a science. And if someone can add more, how it can be called a science? I saw Meera or someone raise the hand. Yeah. And Abba also, I'll come to you.
Yes, Mataji, I was thinking because the Lord has given exact directions on what you need to follow, which is more on par with science versus religion.
Okay, that's right. So he has given something to follow. Okay, see, science is something that is verifiable,
Yes,
right?
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, with that respect, how can we say that Bhagavad Gita's teachings are verifiable? Abha, Mataji. Okay, Annapurni Mataji.
Science, because there is evidence, evidence-based, like people are able to remember their past lives. And there is evidence of people having desires that were not fulfilled, and that's why they have come into another life. And there is evidence of God, there is evidence of Krishna. So it's all evidence-based, and the solutions are quantifiable in the sense that if you do these what is given as practice, like have a Krishna consciousness. It impacts positively on your health, and because your mind is in a good state, and it also impacts the happiness of people around. So it's a win-win situation for everything. Am I right?
Yeah, that's good. That's right. Yeah, that is something that we can verify. Like when I follow this, am I becoming happy? Or am I, as you say, better health? Why? Because we want to all be in the mode of goodness. Then, the health, physical health is included in that. So, like this way, Bhagavad Gita is a science because it tells us what to do, why to do that, how to do, and also experience the result. Okay, I want others who have raised their hands also to add, but we can keep it short in 1 or 2 lines. Yeah, Nirmala.
Mataji, this is Sonia. I can just add one word to it, that it is universally, it can be applied. It's not religious based.
Wonderful. That's a very nice point. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So, though Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, he also gives references to Brahma Sutra and other Vedic scriptures from where where the saints have already
They have,
uh,
he's giving evidences that what he's speaking has spoken by the other saints and in other
yes,
also. Right?
right. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's in the
Thank
13th
you.
chapter. That's a wonderful observation. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, according to Bhagavad Gita, this God has created a manual to run this machine, and we are just a cooperator to going through that as a scientifically day by day. This is my view.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Vijay, Prabhu.
Ma'am, I am a physiotherapist, so practically I'm seeing patients every day. So I use this is like a psychological manuscript for me. I use teachings from Gita to motivate my patients psychologically. On body level also, if we control our lust, anger, it would have a positive impact on our body health. So I see it as a science.
Very beautiful. Thank you for your wonderful comment, Prabhuji, and your personal experience. That's very true. It's a psychological guide and help. So, where are you living, if I may ask?
I'm in Delhi, ma'am. I'm a physiotherapist practicing in Delhi.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for your very wonderful comment.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mataji.
And Mataji, I remember once you only told that, like, if some scientific discovery is happening, we believe in NASA, right? We accept that as truth. So the realized souls who have read Bhagavad Gita and have practically brought them in their life, when we listen to them, Gita through them, we realize the truth more, ideally.
Thank you. Thank you. The spiritual scientist. Yes. Thank you. Abba Mataji and then Deepak Prabhu.
Namaste, Mataji. I think science believes in like matter and energy, and through Bhagavad Gita, it feels like we are going to continue taking births till we attain the moksha and we go back as a soul to the abode of Lord Krishna. So maybe I see that the energy is getting balanced. So
Yeah.
like scientific point of view and this Bhagavad Gita point of view.
Very nice. Conservation of energy. Very, very beautiful point, Prabhuji. This is explained in Isopanishad like that.
Okay, thank you.
Abba Mataji.
Mataji. Yes, I think so that Bhagavad Gita is a sort of science only because it's related to our human mind. And our human mind is connected to so many things in this material world. So it's a sort of presenting in a very systematic way so that we can apply all the things in the life. So it is just the connections that tells us that it is Bhagavad Gita is a science.
Thank you so much. Yes, right. Science about metaphysical science. Basically, it's called metaphysical science. Like a part of this is psychology and how the human mind works, and everything ultimately boils down to the mind. And thank you for telling that, Sneha Mataji.
Hello, Mataji. So, we also see references to multiverses and time travel. Uh, so the Brahma and all stay very young. The number of years, uh, all these are related to scientific concepts. So definitely Bhagavad Gita is a science.
Wow, that's a beautiful point. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that. Manish Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to give my 2 cents from the scientific, from the science perspective. Originally, it was hard for me to believe Gita because it just gives you, um, it's like having one-page summary for several volumes of books. But it gives you inspiration to go deep and dig more, like the other shastras, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. And then if you start researching, you would realize that every word of Gita in itself is an essay. So because that's because those are the words of Lord. So it's very hard to interpret Gita. Um, but it's very scientific. As you dig more and more, you realize that God tried to help us with the knowledge as easy as possible and as shortly as possible. So the more you figure out, the more you study about the Vedas and the concepts, you would realize, not exaggerating, that some of the concepts of Hollywood seems to be inspired by the Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam. It looks like they have just copied over what is mentioned over there. So it's kind of sad that we believe Hollywood, that if they're making sci-fi movies, we trust them, but we are not willing to trust our own scriptures. That's the effect of Kali Yuga, Mataji. Every logic, every argument is against God. There is no argument for any other stuff. Like Hollywood can claim there are so many Matrix movies and like so many different movies from Hollywood. We don't question them. We try to convince ourselves that no, if Hollywood has shown this, then there must be something behind it. But we are not willing to accept what is mentioned in the scriptures, which is straight the words of the Lord and the realized souls. Mataji.
Thank you so much. Now, like the more people are aware of this and we ourselves scrutinizingly study this, and if we experience that this knowledge in my life has, made me live a better life in all aspects, then we can, try to share this, and like that way, one day it will reach Hollywood, not very
Yeah,
far.
Mataji, I think I have realized with my experience that this is a path of belief and trust. You need to trust the Lord and start walking. When you start walking, you will get all of your answers, Mataji. But you should be willing to walk. And I think it's mentioned somewhere, I'm forgetting, Mataji. I think Lord Krishna himself said that you walk one step and I'll walk 1,000 steps.
Right.
And I found it so true, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you,
Mataji,
Mataji.
I just remember there is in physics, I have read that whole universe is like vibration. And when you talk about Mahavishnu and his loka, I find that this is like a vibrating in this, I don't know, cosmos. I don't know how to even explain this, but physics talks about that this whole universe is vibration. And I think this Mahavishnu concept, what you just showed today, it's taking my mind to that what I read long time ago.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Srivatsa Prabhuji. Arise Arjuna. Wow.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. I actually have a paradoxical view about this. We see everything through the lens of science, but I actually think what's in the Bhagavad Gita is transcended science. So it's a much higher school of thought. But because we need clarification or validation from all these schools of thought, because science comes from predominantly a Western school of thought. the rearrangement of matter. It is just that we as Indians, after colonization, we have gotten so enamored with this science thing because we need something to wrestle with our intelligence. We have been divorced from our spiritual past. We don't have that to wrestle with. So now we have taken this up to wrestle with, and everything we put it through a scientific lens, and we make ourselves feel, oh, now this has passed that test. Now it has to be legit. No, it doesn't have to be legit like that. It has come through revelations. All that has happened already, and yeah. So, and also we are in the Kali Yuga. So, except I feel we are unable to truly because it's the Kali Yuga, most of it cannot even be truly comprehended in its glorious essence. So, in actuality, science is a much lower school of thought. But for the purposes of this age, I think for sure, spirituality is yeah, I mean, for sure, for the scientists, it helps to somehow enamor them. But in actuality, it is a far bigger and massive construct. It is like one pigeonhole, looking through one pigeonhole, as opposed to bird's eye view on the entire universe. So it's a completely different paradox.
Beautiful example. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Reena Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Lovely discussion. Excellent experience doing this class with you again. I just wanted to add to what Srivatsa was saying as well. In terms of, we had the knowledge, we have had this manual for ages, and apparently a lot of us were practicing and getting the results. So there was no reason to deviate. Like you, there's a scientific process, you follow, you get experiences, get the results. So you just continue. It's just that in the modern world, we decided that science needs to be relegated as an elitist activity. And then it got relegated to those few on the top levels of whatever they thought in the academic world. And the whole process is lost. I personally, from my own experience, it's been around me in my family, but somehow it just never this was not progress. I need to do something which is beyond what is already known to my grandparents. It's like, all of us have moved away from it, not consciously, and just completely ignorant to what we are missing out on. So yeah, and then the other small thing I wanted to add in terms of evidence, there are a lot of places that are mentioned in the literature that are physically present. So the evidence is right there, it's not made up. So I just wanted to add these two things. But thank you so much, Mataji.
Wonderful. Places like Kurukshetra, Dwaraka, Ram Setu, and the things that describes in Ramayana and Mahabharata. Very nice. And your viewpoint about traditionally what we have followed and how we seem to go astray, but we all can come and practice and bring the real glory of this again. Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, we will have more discussions. I was planning to do a group breakout a room and discuss and come back, but that's going to take half an hour. So we just discussed the 2 questions that my friend sent in preparation. We have 10 questions into 10 groups, but next week we'll try to accommodate more interaction and more activities. And I have one question here. Yeah, Rishma Mataji, thank you for your thing. So the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is for calming brain and great mental aspects, calming the brain and mind. Okay. So this another person with 2 questions. I think you explained during the meeting. Who are referred as Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, Sri Lalita and Vishaka? Yes, actually, the prayers that we do in the initially starting, it only requires a full session to explain each and every prayer. So the first, as we have been seeing that before chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are advised to chant the Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivas, Adi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. These Pancha Tattva are the 5 aspects of the incarnations of the Lord as his devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Krishna himself came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Balaram came as Nityananda Prabhu. Sadashiva and Mahavishnu came as Advaita Acharya. And all the Shakti Tattvas, the potencies of the Lord came as Gadadhar. And Narada Muni came as Srivas. So that is the Bhakti energy of the Lord. So we are offering obeisances to them in the shloka, and also starting with Radha and Krishna, their lotus feet and the feet of all their companions, like Radha's expansions are Lalita and Vishaka and the other gopis. So we are taking the blessings from their feet also to understand Bhagavad Gita. In the slide of one universe, Durga Devi is shown in the top right. Does it mean that Durga Devi, Shiva, etc. are at Goloka? So Durga, the word Durga comes from the word Durgam. Durgam means prison. So she is a superintendent of this prison house. So she is Maya Shakti. She is the external energy of the Lord. And she follows the will of the Lord like a shadow follows the person. And so the superintendent of the jail is to make sure that people in the jail don't go out until they're qualified. So that is the role of Durga. And Lord Shiva has, we can see that he's in the Kailash. It is just about, it's in between the material world and the spiritual world. And we'll see more about it when it comes to the 8th chapter and in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Okay. In the introduction, it is mentioned that Lord Chaitanya says that anyone who tries to understand Bhagavad Gita from the Mayavadi point of view will commit a great blunder. Can you please explain this? So, if we call Mayavadi is someone who says that Maya is supreme. Like Brahmavadi is one who says the impersonal aspect of the Lord is supreme. So why this Mayavadi, the term is that if the one explanation of Mayavadi is that the Lord is one, there is only one, the Lord, and the Lord, he expanded himself into many living entities, and that is correct. He says that every living entity is my spiritual energy. But when we say that the spiritual energy, when it is covered by Maya, that means when I am covered or in this material world, I am a conditioned soul. But when I get liberated from this covering, then I am God, or I become Brahman. So that means Maya is more powerful than the Supreme Lord to cover the Supreme Lord. And which is not the right concept. And another thing to understand is that, many technical things, but to come down, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling is that if the Lord, Jivatma and Paramatma are considered to be on the equal level, that is, if the living entity after liberation, if he thinks that I can become one with God, then the concept of subordination to God and service to God doesn't arise. And so with that mentality, we bring down the position of the Lord, not giving him any Visesha. He will say, he's not anything special. Nirvisesha means everything is one, like me. So in that concept, it's a blunder to understand Bhagavad Gita, because then Maya is covering Krishna also. And Maya is covering Arjuna also. So that is what is a wrong concept. And the right concept is that the Lord is a supreme, and the superior energy, the living entities who are expansions of the Lord, are dependent on the Lord, are not an independent reality, but the Lord is the independent reality and He is the origin and cause of everything. Then the process of bhakti can be completely practiced, which is a real situation of the living entity. So this we will explain more in the coming chapters in the purports. Okay, so it's 9:20. I think we'll stop here, but I have two raised hands, so we can take your questions or if you have anything to say.
Thank you, Mataji. This is from introduction. It's from page number 23 from the book. Here it says that the process of quitting this body and getting another body in the material world is also organized. A man dies after it has been decided what form of body he will have in the next life.
Yes.
Higher authorities, not the living entity himself, make this decision. So this kind of contradicts what has been said, that when you your last breath, whatever you think of, you will get that birth, and also it's a blend of karma. So that I find it a bit complicated to understand. So if you can please explain to me, I would appreciate it.
Thank you so much, first of all, for reading and scrutinizingly trying to bring out. See, this is what this class is meant for. Okay, so we read and then we come up with questions. So actually, we have the right, we have the opportunity and responsibility to decide our next life based on what we have lived. But actually, what life we will go into is decided by the higher authorities by checking our karma and our desires. At the end of the life, we might want to, okay, I want to go to Swargaloka. That is my desire. Okay, but do I have the karma for that? That the matching of karma and the desires, everything is done by a perfect system, and that system is governed by a higher authority and they decide. Okay, but the karma and the desires, I do it and I develop it during this life. But once I have developed my desire and karma and have worked to what my next life would be, the actual transmigration is done by the Supreme Lord, and where I belong to will be given. Just like the student can apply, for many different medical college after going through NEET. But there is a system now that allocates, okay, this student has to go to this medical college. This is based on this much rank. So like that. The efforts are still of the student to study and pass the test, but the allocation is by the higher authorities.
Right. But for example, they said that Bharat, when he died, he thought about the deer, and that's why he became a deer in his next life. So far, whatever I have read kind of goes towards saying that whatever you think of when passing away, that's the life that you get. And then again, of course, karma has its own way of dealing with that lifetime. So
Okay.
this was something that I'm not having clarity on.
Okay, so Bharat's life is an example. Just like the teacher will ask the best student to do a presentation, to do a drama for um, enlightening others. So Bharat's life tells us many different lessons, that how even a greatly self-realized person can go off track even at the last days of his life. That's one lesson. Okay. And the attachments, we don't know, what we are attached to so deeply, that one thing that we are attached to will come up at the end of the life, that we don't know yet. So Bharat did not plan to become a deer. Bharat wanted a spiritual body, but accidents happen in his life to give us lessons. And obviously, he gave us valuable lessons in his third life, right? If you see Srimad Bhagavatam, what is he talking to Rahugana? It was all experiential knowledge and wisdom. So that was the purpose of the Lord, to have him. And finally, he went. It's only that he was delayed by 2 lives, and then he went. He got the spiritual body in the last life.
Right. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
So we will take this final question of Reena Mataji before we stop. Or if you have anything to say.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry to keep you. I have a question from the reading also. I wasn't clear. Maybe it's a silly question. Just wanted to bring this up. So the paragraph says, our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non-existence. Our existence is eternal. But somehow or other, we are put into asat. Asat refers to that which does not exist. So I was just getting confused about what are we referring to when we say we. Are we talking about body? And asat is what? Is it unreal? It's illusion? It's temporary? Like I just got confused with all those concepts.
Very nice. Yeah. So we refers to the soul. The soul is eternal. Asat means that which is not real or it's not existing. So if you take this, we are the soul and we are put in this body. And the nature of the body is that it keeps changing. It is existing in one form today, and tomorrow, after 10 years, it is changing its existence. Okay, so that is asat. Asat means that which is constantly changing or not truth, and it is not really existing. Like, where did my girl body go? In the picture I have, but that is not existent anymore. Similarly, this body with which I'm talking and, doing very nicely, this will also go. A time will come when I can hardly open my mouth and few words also will not come. I can hardly see, if at all I survive till old age at that point of time. And once this body is given away, then there is no existence at all.
So Mataji, there are two concepts. One is that illusion, and the second is temporary. So are we talking about both under asat?
Wonderful. Yes. So illusion means that which is temporary. It is truth now, but the truth is temporary. So that's why it is not absolute truth. It's a relative truth. And to consider this an absolute truth is an illusion.
Oh, okay. Okay. That clarifies. Thank you so much, Mataji. Sorry to hold you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such
Hare
wonderful
Krishna.
tips. And that's what we are planning to do. Probably, when we go ahead, we might have mastered many concepts and fully, we can open it up for question and answers and discussions like this. So please continue to read and note down the points like this. You might even share in the group and ask questions. Obviously, many of you may have many questions and we have only limited 1 hour time. So either you can put it in the group as a voice message or write to me separately if you don't want to be in the group, and we can discuss like that. So the next week's homework will be to finish the reading of the introduction and also work on reciting the prayers that Yashita Mataji sent audio in the group. So we can work on hearing them again and again. So eventually our first goal is to memorize with the meaning the prayers, and then we will have every weekly one shloka to memorize. And it's easy to do. So once we know, then it's easy to teach others and our kids as well. Okay, tomorrow is Ekadashi in Charlotte in US. Saturday is Ekadashi. The local calendar we have to refer. In India, it may be different, definitely. And usually Toronto and US East Coast are usually the same. If I'm not wrong, it's on Saturday. Anyway, we'll put in the group. We'll share in the group. Okay, devotees. So thank you for your time and efforts and reading very well, and you have wonderful, wonderful questions. So please, let's read and keep this going. By Krishna's mercy, we'll come back again on Monday. We will start on chapter 1. Yeah. So there is a Vaishnava calendar app. You can look it up in Play Store or Google Play. And that gives according to your time and the thing, your whether Ekadashi is said. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Monday we have a festival which is Nityananda Trayodasi, appearance day of Lord Nityananda, who is an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we will not have class on Monday. And those who are close to a ISKCON temple or Sangha, I know you will also be having celebrations. You can take part in that evening. So next class we will meet on Thursday. If you have any questions, anything to share, we can use the WhatsApp group for that. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Praying to the Lord that we continue learning from each other and we are able to do this Sangha. And thank you really personally to everyone for your reading and amazing questions. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you, Mother.
Thank you.